If your journey through life were a body of water, every ripple could change your direction. When something unexpected happens in life, it forces us to adapt and evolve. You discover a strength inside you that you didn't know you had. Every ripple shapes us as individuals with unique experiences and stories to tell. Here lies the power of listening. You never know when a stranger can teach you something. In 2017, I embarked on my academic journey through health sciences. After my bachelor's, I pursued a graduate diploma in oncology, followed by a Master of Pathology at McGill. One of the overarching goals of my research project was to build a repository of patient samples that could help to modernize the way we screen and monitor women with gynecological cancers. As part of this work, I spent a lot of time in the colposcopy and cancer clinics consenting patients for research. I knew going into this that I wanted to change the lives of patients. Never did I think that they would change mine. Interacting with patients taught me how unpredictable and unfair life can sometimes be. 1 minute, you're caught up in the daily frustrations of your routine, be it traffic or the door you should have pushed instead of pulled. To then suddenly you're sitting in a doctor's office anxiously waiting for what could potentially be a life-altering diagnosis, wishing you never complained about the little things in your day-to-day. Be it you or someone you love, news like this can really blur your future, like a ripple skewing your path. It is in these moments that we understand the fragility of life. After all, we are small, but the world is wide. This photo was taken of me last November hiking the highlands of Isle of Skye in Scotland. As I made it to the top of the mountains and stared across the vast distance, I realized how small I was compared to all that was around me. When traveling, I'm reminded of the patients that I encounter in my day-to-day, who would do anything to experience the world in the ways that I could. This hike prompted a deep thought in me. With a view as breathtaking as this, I asked myself, where am I? I mean, where are we? And why are we here? The reality is that we may never know the reason for our existence. All we know is that we've been put here together, and I believe that counts for something. In times of struggle, we rely on each other. In the hospital, for patients without family or friends, we as clinical staff become the people they seek comfort in. Having experienced loss in its different forms, loss of health, of purpose, or of love, has taught me that it is the harsh realities of life that connect us all. How we define success and fulfillment may be different, but as human beings, we all long for the same simple things: time, connection, and the feeling of being alive. The health benefits of human connection have stood the test of time. Over the last 50 years, studies have consistently shown that strong community ties and healthy social networks contribute to a longer, healthier life. Knowing how vital the human connection is, this therefore begs the question, why do so many of us feel isolated and alone? The short answer is two-part. First, we are not prioritizing quality time. And second, we view vulnerability as a weakness. In a consumer-driven society, many of us feel overworked and undervalued. We treat self-care as a privilege rather than a physiological need, often feeling a sense of guilt when making time for ourselves. As a result, we're not spending enough time doing the things we love or being with the people we love. In the United States, quality time is one of the most loved love languages. Yet, a 2023 poll by the American Psychiatric Association revealed that 1 in 3 Americans report feeling lonely every week. Despite this statistic, in the same year, less than 20% of adults received mental health support. So what this is telling us is that we've been socially distancing ourselves from one another even before the pandemic. We are afraid to show others that we are hurting or that we need help. So how can we revive the human connection? Simply put, we must make it a priority and embrace vulnerability. Patients with cancer have taught me invaluable lessons about what it means to connect with others. Be it someone you know and love or a complete stranger, we must treat every encounter as an opportunity to open our minds and hearts. Unfortunately, many of the patients who have inspired this talk are no longer with us. And so it is with a grateful heart that I share their stories and how they've inspired me to lead a more meaningful life. Illness can take on many forms. One day, as I walked through the hospital, an older man stopped me to ask for directions to a specific department. I offered to walk with him. After a short but lovely conversation about the importance of helping others, I found out the man only had days left to live. I was in shock. No wheelchair, nor an ounce of bitterness in his tone. Just a big smile, knowing that he got to share his wisdom with one more person before he died. That same day, I received news that one of our patients on the research study had been admitted to the emergency department for what they called severe pain. On MRI, the radiologists found that her cancer had spread to her bones, and this was a terminal diagnosis. As a researcher, it was important to get samples at this stage in the disease in order to study her metastasis. And so I prepared my tubes and I made my way to the patient's room. As I entered the room, I found the patient staring blankly out her small, foggy window. It was a late day in October, and it just so happened that the patient's favorite holiday was Halloween. No one had visited her since she got the news of her diagnosis, an orphan raised by the Soviet army whose partner was too afraid of hospitals. It hurt me to see her loneliness visually. And so I put my tubes down and pulled up a chair beside her. It took some time, but she did open up. We spoke about her fondest memories and most challenging trials, a lifetime summarized in 30 minutes. That day, I left work a different person. Both patients were dying, yet nothing about them was the same, not physically nor emotionally. These experiences taught me two key elements of the human connection. First, that pain is not always visible. And second, that in order to connect with someone, we must first identify the person's needs before trying to help them. The older man just needed a listener. The woman with a terminal diagnosis needed someone to care, someone to think of her after she was gone. Ultimately, how easily you connect with someone will depend on how well your foot fits in their shoes. Now, what about when what the person is going through is not something that you've experienced personally? It's not something you understand. How can we connect and relate in a way that feels natural and genuine? One day in the cancer clinic, I had to collect samples from a patient at their follow-up visit to monitor their response to treatment. This patient had undergone a surgery known as a hysterectomy. This is when a woman's ovaries, uterus, and cervix are removed. Thankfully, she responded well to surgery and would not need additional chemotherapy. However, when I approached her privately, I was surprised to see that she showed no signs of relief despite the good news. In fact, she appeared angry. When I started to explain to her the research study to see if she was interested in participating, she stopped me abruptly and said, "You just don't get it. My life is over." She expressed to me that all she ever wanted in life was to be a mom, and that although the surgery saved her life, it stripped her of the privilege of bearing children. This encounter taught me that we don't have to have shared the same struggles to understand one another. It's a matter of understanding the pain. Take a moment to reflect on what it is you cherish the most in your life. Now imagine it taken away. and there was nothing you could do to stop it from happening. That is what she felt. We've all known pain, even if for different reasons, and that alone can help us to connect and understand one another. Lastly, what about when you are on the receiving end? When you are the one experiencing loss? Many of us can relate. Losing someone close to you is like losing a part of yourself. This is where the human connection has the power to heal. Last August, 2 weeks before my MCAT, my medical college admissions test, I received a call I wasn't prepared for. Over the phone, I heard, "She didn't wake up." So with no signs and no closure, we had to say goodbye to a beloved grandmother, to us, the heart of the family. I didn't know how I was to grieve and at the same time pull through for this 6-hour exam. I thought of postponing the exam, but then that would mean that I could only apply to medical school the following year, essentially putting my life on hold. In the end, I wrote the exam, and I'm grateful that I did, because you discover that strength inside you that you didn't know you had. And we all have it. It just takes these difficult moments for it to come out. Looking back, I see how crucial it was to have had a support system that lifted me up during this time. I was lucky. Not everyone is well surrounded. This is where I encourage you to go out and find those people in your life, the ones that see your qualities. If you feel alone, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are. And if you really don't have anybody, remember, the world is wide. There's someone out there that gets you. Through human connection, we find courage when faced with hardship and draw strength from one another. These stories remind us of the huge impact a single encounter, a single ripple can have. For me, these were moments shared with the sick and the mourning. Moments that, while challenging, were profoundly eye-opening. My takeaway is this: the ability to show empathy towards others comes from a deep understanding of human suffering. If you feel you are struggling with something, reach out to someone. If you know of someone who is going through a hard time, check in on them. By embracing our vulnerability and taking the time to truly connect, we can turn 1,000 ripples into a wave, connecting us in ways we were always designed to be. Thank you.